Back to my channel. Today I just wanted to have a little chat about exercise and the sort of mental part of exercise, the sports psychology of it, which is a massive part of exercise itself, is our brain to body connection. So it all comes from here, right? And I just see so many people ask me questions about how do I get fit, how do I lose this, how do I lose that, what do I do? And yes, to a certain extent you can be the architect of your own body on an aesthetic level. Obviously there's no particular exercise that can do one thing to one part of your body. It has to sort of work overall. Yes, you can build muscle, yes you can lose fat, use calories, and it's pretty much either one of those, but you can't get an exercise to try and get a thigh gap. And that brings me on to like my first point about exercising, that or doing anything physical, that you cannot compare your body to anyone else's. You have a certain genetic makeup, a certain way that your body is and will always be, and that doesn't mean that you can't get the best body for you. But it does mean that if someone has a thigh gap, their pelvic girdle might be bigger, wider than yours, their bones of their legs smaller, the way that their body is made up, so that their legs create a thigh gap. There isn't an exercise that can create a thigh gap. There are exercises that can tone and build the muscle in your inner thigh, which creates the illusion of being a tighter limb, right? So less sort of wobbly bits, okay? But to a certain extent. And that's good news and bad news, right? It means that your body is completely unique, completely individual, and reacts in certain ways. So there's a lot of trial and error in exercise. And it also depends, which brings me to my second point, on what you like. Okay, so it's kind of, unfortunately or fortunately, maintainability of a certain exercise program or physical program. And there's no point in starving yourself, rushing off and doing 28 days of a certain thing. You get a certain result in a certain amount of time, but once you stop doing that thing, the result will slowly go in time. Because no matter what we're doing, we kind of have to up the ante every so often. Okay? So if you do sort of one exercise for 28 days or one certain training thing for 28 days and then you just stop, then that's going to become obsolete. So it's really important to keep a sense of maintainability in your life. Just like anything else, we don't want to do anything too much that we can't sustain it or maintain it, and to the point that it's detrimental to ourselves. So we want to find something that we like. We don't have to love it, and we don't have to be addicted to it, but something that doesn't put the fear of bejesus in us every time we want to do it. I know, for me, I can't bear spinning. It frightens me, and it's something that I don't particularly like doing. I'll do it, but it's not my exercise of choice. I prefer to move my body in another way. So it's finding what you like in your body, what your body feels good doing. Is there any point in going for a long slogging run where your body is tired, there's no technique there, you feel more exhausted at the end of the run than you do at the beginning? Is there any point in that? Because you may have stressed yourself, you may have raised your cortisol. A raise of cortisol, the hormone, increases your waistline, bulks you out, the sugar collects here. Is that what you want? Or is there another exercises that can sustain your heart rate at a certain level where you're not pushing so hard? So therefore the exercise is working for you. And that's what you want, an exercise that works for you, not against you. And it sounds really simple, but it's actually harder to do. And we can go through so many different things and absolutely hate them. So it's about being true to yourself. And being true to yourself as well as my third point, in that as we age, our body will change, right? That's inevitable, and we're very lucky that our body is changing. And especially for women, our hormones are changing. We're coming into a sort of a new phase of life. And yes, I'm not going to lie, moving about gets a little bit more tiring, but it doesn't have to be necessarily harder, and we don't have to necessarily back out of it. We just change it. There is a whole smorgasbord of exercise out there, right? And we just think to ourselves, what do I want to work on that's going to make me happier, my life improve, make me feel good about myself? Might be nothing, but a physical aspect to our day is a really, really healthy thing to do. To work our mind, to work our bodies, and for our bodies to feel good so that in the evenings or at rest times they can properly relax. And relaxation again changes your hormones, changes how you feel about yourself, and eventually changes your day. If someone is doing yoga and swears by yoga, then that's fine, they can swear by yoga. There's not one size fits all here. You might not like yoga. You might be great at yoga. It's not about bending backwards and forth. There's so many different things that we can just pick one thing a day and try it. Now, we don't have to go for that 8-hour walk, the 2-hour run. We don't have to do 20 burpees, press-ups, burpees, go crazy this. How many times are you going to want to go back to that? Build it up slowly. Now, weight-bearing exercises are really good, especially in your 40s, especially for women. Weight-bearing and weights. Now, weight-bearing, which is using our body's weight, either in planks or on the floor, or working against gravity even, is great. Great for us to prevent osteoporosis, great for our bones, and maybe enough for you. So search for weight-bearing exercises that suit your body. There are so many women out there, older women, that can help you and tell you what to do. Once we get our weight-bearing strength, we might want to up the ante and start adding extra weight. So that would be hand weights, leg weights, anything. So we're using even more to load our muscles. And we want to load those muscles. So we lose muscle mass every year as we get into our 40s or 50s. So we want to keep that muscle mass. Okay? We want to keep the muscles working. And this brings me on to another point of the sensation and pain. So when we move our body in a certain way, there's going to be exertion. Even when we move forwards in space, there's a certain amount of exertion. And in exercise that may get our heart rate up, may utilize our muscles, so fatigue a certain muscle that we're working. It might feel uncomfortable because there's a sensation, right? And we go, oh, I don't want to have this sensation. But what we will learn to do is to connect the mind back into the body, and the signals of resistance are just a sensation. No, there's a different thing if there's pain, if there's any sharp pain, or we know in our gut that the move that we're doing isn't working for us. There's a pain that shouldn't be there. We stop, we find something else. There's no point in pushing through that pain. It will not be pushed through. You're doing damage to your body. Muscular pain and the pain, the sensation of working a muscle or working a joint or working the heart or working the lungs is a different thing. And often we're not used to that, so we stop. When in actual fact, we can get through that in stages. So also it's about building those stages up, stage by stage by stage. We don't want to exercise, do everything, and then stop. That's absolutely detrimental to our health. So it's about stages, building, right? Building that foundation, building it stronger and stronger and stronger. So we have that structural stability no matter what. And this will help us in every day of our life. That will help our feet when we're walking, our legs when we're walking, the ability to move the leg behind you, to lift it up. Picking something up. What is the thing that people do when they damage their backs? It's something in the home or something in their life that they've done. Leant up to a shelf, bent down to find something, the back goes. So functional mobility also is key here. So choosing exercises that have functional mobility. And I'll talk about that in another video. And I'll do some functional exercises with you that basically means it's the same type of plane of movement that you would use in your life, right? So the body gets used to the way our life is being lived. We don't just live like this, and we definitely don't do star jumps the whole time when we live, right? We use different functional mobility to do the chores in our life. So next video, I'll be helping you with functional mobility, and just have a think. What do I want? What do I like about me, my body? What can I accentuate? If I want to do a certain thing with my arms, I do it. I research how to do it, or I come to Philippa and do it. And I'm going to start to give you little videos each day on how to just be the architect of your own body, aesthetically, and also how to feel good doing it. Okay, so one size does not fit all. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much for joining me, and please subscribe to my channel, Peak Body Fitness, and it would be lovely to see you back again.